In this week's video, I want to talk about my ultimate lightweight photography setup for whenever I'm doing travel photography. I recently just came back from a 6-week trip from South Korea and Japan, going through multiple cities including Seoul, Busan, Osaka, Tokyo, and more. So I had to really keep in mind not only what I was carrying in my luggage, which I spoke about in my travel luggage video, but also the gear I was carrying on a daily basis when I was out taking photos every day for hikes or for street photography. I wanted to make sure I had the minimal amount of weight on me because I'm usually out all day taking photos. Carrying 5 to 10 pounds of gear might not sound difficult on paper, but carrying all that during a hike, then somewhere for dinner after that, and then finally a couple of hours of street photography after that, yeah, it gets tiring pretty fast. So shaving off even the most minimal amount of weight is very important to me. So what's this ultimate travel setup I'm speaking of? Well, this setup worked really well for me during my most recent travels, and was really the setup I had the majority of the time I was out taking photos. It's the Sony a7R5 and the Sony 24-70 GM2. For me, what makes this the ultimate setup is the combination of the ability to crop in with the Sony a7R5, the high quality of the Sony 24-70 GM2 lens, the focal length range of the 24-70, and the f2.8 of the lens to shoot at night. Quick note here though, you do not need this exact same setup, I promise. I'll explain more in depth later about what I mean about that though. Going more in depth with cropping, the reason why cropping helps so much with having my 24-70 GM2 is because essentially I can put my camera into APS-C crop mode and make that 24-70 lens into a 24-105 lens, getting me some extra range in situations where I may need to get a bit closer. That saves me from carrying the extra gear I need to carry, like my 85mm lens when going on a hike. Now of course, if there's a situation where I know for sure I'll need my 85mm lens, I'll just take it with me because I'd rather just use it instead of cropping. But for those situations where I'm unsure and it's my first time at the location, which let's be honest, is usually the case when traveling, having this combo helps so much without losing too much resolution because of the a7R5's 61 megapixel. Speaking more into why I chose a 24-70 GM2 lens, I don't think it's much of a secret with how well this lens performs. You can check out some of the other reviews on YouTube showing the tests that people have done with this lens and all the chart tests and stuff like that. I'm not really into those type of things as they're a bit boring for me personally. Rather, I'm more into how well the lens performs in real life situations with going to the locations and shooting with the lens itself. And from the photos I've taken with this lens from here in LA to my trip in Japan and South Korea, I've been very happy with all the photos taken and have no complaints whatsoever with the sharpness of the lens from all focal lengths and the build quality of the lens. And to put a cherry on top of it all, the weight of the 24-70 GM2 compared to this former version, the GM1, is way lighter. So it definitely makes it better and easier getting to locations when traveling. One more reason why I chose the 24-70 GM2 as the perfect travel lens for me compared to, let's say, the 24-105 f4 is because of the f2.8 of the GM2. I wanted an all-around versatile lens that would let me photograph 99% of the things when traveling. And because the 24-70 focal length range is so versatile alongside the cropping factor which lets me get that extra range when I need it, the only other scenario that I'd want covered for situations I enjoy shooting in would be night photography. The f2.8 allows me to do just that. I can get the extra soft of light when I need to increase my shutter speed to avoid motion blur. Mix that with the ability to increase my ISO because of the high quality of the lens, as well as the great denoise technology of Lightroom, I really don't have much to worry about in terms of being able to capture the shot I have in my head. I can confidently rely on my gear, so I don't have to worry about that aspect at all, and just focus on the situation in front of me and getting the best photo I can get. This is the camera lens combo that has worked wonders for me this past trip, and it's definitely going to be a part of my kit when I plan and pack for future travels. Though a very important thing I want to know, even though I just spent this whole video listing all the reasons why the Sony a7R5 and the Sony 24-70 GM2 is the perfect travel setup for me, I just want to say this: you do not need this exact same setup. You can definitely mix it up to match with more of what you like to shoot. For the camera body, the Sony a7R4 is also 61 megapixels and can definitely be found on the used market for a lot cheaper than the a7R5. Shit, you can get away with cropping on the a7 IV and even the a7 III, and those bodies produce 33 megapixel and 24 megapixel images, and that works perfectly fine. As for the lens choices, if the 24-70 GM2 is out of your price range, you don't need to go in depth to get it. There are plenty of other great lenses out there, especially if you don't need the f2.8. The 24-105 f4 lens is a great choice for those wanting something in that 24-70 focal length range, plus you get the 70-105 range without needing the crop, which means you can get more range than you could with the GM2. Or you can opt for the Sony FE 20-70 f4 if 24mm isn't wide enough for you and you would rather opt for the lighter lens. Now, I'm not one to say gear isn't everything, because obviously gear matters to a certain extent. That's why photographers spend all this money on gear, because it does matter to the type of photography we do. But at the same time, there are great substitutes if you know what you want and what is beneficial for your photography, while understanding the limitations that come with the gear you choose. Anyways, that's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed and were able to get some ideas for your own travel setup. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like and subscribe. Let me know what your current travel setup is in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Later.